Code monkey get up, get coffee. Code monkey go to job. Code monkey have boring meeting with boring manager Rob. Rob say code monkey very diligent, but his output stink. His code not functional or elegant. What do code monkey think? Code monkey think maybe manager wanna write login page himself. Code monkey not say it out loud. Code monkey not crazy, just proud. Code monkey like Fritos. Code monkey like Tab and Mountain Dew. Code monkey very simple man. Big warm fuzzy secret heart. Code monkey like you. Code monkey like you.
What's new, Dino Dudes? It's me, the Media Raptor, and welcome back to another episode of Reaction and Review with the Media Raptor. If you're wondering what's up with that, it's simple. Back there is a mess, and I'm watching a VHS, so I had to watch it somewhere else. Tonight, I'm just going to jump into it. We're watching Pokémon, the first movie. Some quick background. I grew up on Pokémon, but I'd never seen this movie. Surprisingly. Granted, I did grow up on Pokémon, but I haven't really cared about Pokémon since Diamond and Pearl, so that was about 10 years ago. I enjoyed Pokémon just fine, but unlike some people when Pokémon kept kind of growing with them, I stopped after Diamond and Pearl. And shockingly, I haven't seen any of these movies. That's a lie. I've seen 2000, the movie, like over 10 years ago, so I remember nothing about it, so it counts to an R&R sort of thing. But anyhow, with Detective Pikachu coming out, I figured, hey, what better time to watch these and see if they're any good? I'm not expecting them to be good, but I'm hoping it's kind of like Transformers the movie, where it's actually entertaining, even though it is kind of just a big cash grab. Regardless, we're only going to find out if we start watching the movie, and before you ask why I'm watching them on VHS, because the Blu-ray or DVDs of these cost like $20 to $30, which is way too much. Unless it's a really good movie, then I'm willing to pay that much, but still, I just went with the VHSs because they were like 50 cents each at my Value Village, so hey, let's see if this is any good. Let's all kick back, relax, and check out Pokémon, the first movie. Also, my dog's right next to me, so if you hear a weird sound, that's just Scamp. Okay, quick question. I get cloning a Pokemon's a big deal and all that, but this Pokemon can talk. Mewtwo can talk, and nobody seems to be amazed by that. Wasn't the big deal about Meowth was the fact that he was one of the few Pokemon who could talk English? And yet here's Mewtwo, speaking complete and fluent English, and yet nobody really seems to care all that much. Maybe I'm overthinking this, and... oh. You know, I really wouldn't think that the first movie for Pokémon, a beloved children's franchise, began with what I'm assuming is a mass slaughter. Granted, they can't show us that, but I'm pretty sure yeah, those people are dead. Okay, I'm surprised that the Pokémon movie begins with a mass slaughter.
Dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokémon.
Huh.
And we succeeded.
Okay, so I was kind of expecting something, you know, I wasn't expecting much from this movie. It kind of sucks. And I know why people love it. It's because they watched it as children and they didn't see the issues with it, but so far this movie has been just kind of really boring. It's just sort of a few set pieces trying to cobble together a story to tell. And while there is an interesting concept there, it's very much a 90s kids movie, as in, they didn't put too much effort into the plot because they knew Pokemon would sell. I'm not trying to be too harsh just yet, as the movie is only like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes underway, so, you know, movies do have time to improve. Not every movie starts strong and continues strong, but look, we're half an hour into a 90-minute movie, there's only an hour left. I don't know, it's just... it is what it is, you know? That's the best way to put it. Okay, so I'd be lying. There is one really good thing about this movie. Mew is adorable. Everything Mew does, I love. I can't tell if Mew's a guy or a girl, but it's literally the cutest thing I've seen in a long time. Okay, so admittedly that was kind of a cool fight, but everyone in this movie who isn't Mewtwo is kind of a huge idiot.
I will extract that DNA to make clones.
I'm not gonna lie, like everybody I have seen so far in this movie that isn't Mewtwo
You can't do this.
is some of the dumbest people I've ever seen. And I get it's a kid's cartoon from the 90s, so people weren't exactly the smartest back then. But it honestly kind of amazes me just how dumb some of these characters have been. They've seen how powerful Mewtwo is, and yet they constantly say, oh yeah, we can totally take him. We shouldn't worry about the giant, powerful, all-powerful psychic Pokemon who can avoid any attack we throw at him. No, we can totally take him. Seriously, like everyone in this movie is an idiot. Nice to see we're finally getting that Mew versus Mewtwo fight they were always talking about, and the cover was making a big deal about. The Pokemon match of all time is here, Mewtwo versus Mew. You know, an hour into this hour-and-a-half movie. And I think it's over. Okay, look, I get this is a 90s kids film, but this really isn't good. I can explain why when I get back.
So you do have some fight in you.
See, my main issue with it is unlike the Transformers movie, which existed to tell a great grand story, potentially even serve as a series finale,
Super Pokemon? Or you
this one just sort of is like, hey, we know people like Pokemon, so let's just make a movie off. You do not get to pull the whole fighting is wrong card when this franchise has been going on for nearly 30 years of these animals fighting each other. The only difference now is they're being forced to fight without their special moves. Why are people making a big deal out of this? So, I don't normally tend to get this annoyed by messages, especially in kids' films. But this movie is trying to say, Pokemon is trying to say, violence is wrong, we should all live in harmony. When for the next 20 years, people are still enslaving these animals and making them fight. Hey Ash, you look stoned. I'm a horrible person. No, but seriously. They even screwed up the whole heroic sacrifice attempt thing. I'm not gonna lie, the only thing making me feel any real emotion in this scene is Pikachu. The voice actor for Pikachu is playing such a is getting the voice the desperate tone of voice so well done. It's honestly kind of heartbreaking, but everything else just kind of doesn't work. Well, that was Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back. That kinda sucked. Like, that was kind of a really bad movie. Be right back. I can hear all of you writing angry comments down below, screaming at me for daring to say that your childhood movie was bad. That this was your childhood, you grew up on it, you love it, and hi Scamp, and that's it. Your childhood was this movie. As a kid, it was Pokemon. As a kid, it's everything you would want. It's Pokemon fighting, it's Pokemon fighting. That's it. But the second you take a step back and look at this movie analytically and even just critically, it's really not that good. All because of the writing. The writing is so And what I hate about saying this movie is bad is it had so much potential to be really good. Mewtwo is such an interesting character because they gave a Pokemon not only a voice, but an existential crisis. He actually has a fair point throughout the entire movie. A fair point, and he's actually kind of got a plan that wouldn't technically hurt too many people if he didn't resort to murder. He could have easily done what he was going to do, but made a deal or found an easier way to do it. But instead, because it had to be clear, nope, he's the villain, they had to kind of make him irredeemably evil by having him kill people until a complete and total heel-face turn. The writing is so choppy and so shoddy, it doesn't feel like a movie. It really feels like just 3 episodes of the TV show strung together. And the reason why I harp on the writing, and I'm going to so much, hey puppy, is because I remember one of the movies, Destiny Deoxys, had a fantastic story. Pokemon Heroes, from what I remember, had a really good story. This doesn't have a good story. See, my main issue with the writing is how dumb everyone is. It's said very clear multiple times, Mewtwo is not only the most powerful Pokemon master and trainer in the world, but the most powerful Pokemon, period. So naturally, everyone thinks, hey, we can totally take this guy, what could possibly go wrong? So it doesn't exactly scream a vote of confidence when all the characters, both main ones and side characters, are constantly attacking the telepathic, reality-warping cat god who literally killed an entire lab full of people who were trained to handle stuff like this. Furthermore, this movie has a serious case of tonal whiplash. One moment, it'll be surprisingly dark and very poignant, very interesting and a very good tone for a movie with the message it's trying to get across. Then next thing you know, oh hey, everything's fine, everything's happy. Here's some unfunny comedy that kids will find funny, but the second you look at it, you realize how cringy it is. The dialogue it's very much old cartoon dialogue. It's broken, the characters repeat themselves way too many times. They say Mewtwo is a clone of Mew at least 8 times, and each time the character's like, wait a minute, is Mewtwo a clone of Mew? Despite the fact that they were told that very clearly. Now, I do need to admit this. This is a kids movie. If you're watching it with kids, it is completely fine. If you have kids who like Pokemon and they want to watch it, go ahead. They will probably love it. If you grew up watching this movie, you are probably still going to love it. I think the big issue for me is I did not grow up with this movie. I want you guys to remember that. You can get mad at me down in the comments all you want, and I'm willing to talk to you about it, and I'll try and explain my best as to what went wrong with this movie, but I have no nostalgic feelings to this. So when people watch this movie and they see scenes of characters acting extremely stupid, or Mewtwo suddenly going, hey, yeah, so my plan to free Pokemon from slavery is to murder all the Pokemon and then clone them and let said clones be free, even though his main thing was he wanted to save the Pokemon, not the clones of the Pokemon. So maybe it could have been, I want to free the Pokemon by using clones of Pokemon to free them. That could have been interesting. Just keep in mind that when I see this, I see it as an issue because I review movies and I've never seen this movie before. You might not see an issue with it because you grew up watching it. I get that. Don't let me stomp all over your childhood more than I'm probably going to in this review. So, yeah, the writing is a huge issue. In fact, it's really the only real issue I have with this movie that I can actually critique. The characters are written to be exactly who they were in the TV show. If you happen to watch this movie and you know nothing about Pokemon, there's about 10 seconds at the very beginning where they say who Ash is, but everyone else, it's very much a, yeah, you're out of luck if you don't know anything about this franchise. Which, once again, going back to the Transformers movie, which came out in the 80s or maybe even the 70s, they at least had the time to go, okay, people who might be new to this franchise, here's what you need to know. Here's the important stuff. Now watch the movie. Furthermore, they actually spent the time to go, okay, what can we do for a movie to make it feel like a grand epic adventure? Because the big final showdown that this movie kind of hints towards, in fact, even most of the characters you see on the cover here don't appear in the actual movie. They appear in the short before it that I had to fast forward through because, well, I didn't really care to watch it. The final showdown, which is supposed to be this big culmination of Mew and Mewtwo fighting, as well as all the Pokemon and their clones fighting. There's maybe 15 of them in total, not including the clones. Like there's 15 Pokemon, and they're just sort of biting and clawing at each other because for some reason they don't have their powers. And I know I ranted about this, but I'm going to rant about it again. The franchise that is built on having monsters fight each other cannot pull the "we shouldn't fight, it's not good" card. Alright? This entire franchise is built on these animals fighting each other. Enslavement or not, that's what this is based on. So when all the characters suddenly go, wow, this is actually a really bad thing we shouldn't do. No, that doesn't work. And I really hope you guys understand why. Pokemon itself in later games actually tackled the idea of, are they pets or are they slaves? And they did it pretty darn well. But the issue here is it just kind of goes, yeah, you know what, screw it, let's just have everyone feel bad for a minute and then presumably go back to fighting once this movie's over and the TV show continues. Furthermore, the big emotional finale when Ash gets turned to stone and then all the Pokemon cry to bring him back, it doesn't work for a few reasons. One, if you're a fan of Ash from the show, great, you might actually feel something then. But if you didn't really know Ash from the show, you're not going to understand why it's an emotional scene. He isn't really given a whole lot of emotional moments aside from with Pikachu, which even then it's only like 1 or 2 times. So my issue with that comes from the fact that we don't get any build-up, no payoff, or no real reason to get emotionally invested in this character aside from, oh, we like him from the show. And more importantly, they screwed up the whole what should have been the heroic sacrifice. See, what happens is Mew and Mewtwo blast at each other and Ash runs towards it. I thought, oh, okay, he's going to push Mew out of the way and take the blast or something. No, he runs into the middle of it to try and stop them from fighting as hits by both blasts. Remember when I said everyone was an idiot in this movie? I wasn't lying. Ash is the only character I'm willing to give any sort of leeway to because he is technically a kid. But what they should have done is have Ash push Mew out of the way and take the blast from Mewtwo. That way, when Mewtwo has this whole, oh wow, maybe Pokemon and human can live together moment, it would make more sense as he would have seen a human almost or possibly die to protect a Pokemon. It would have had more of an emotional payoff with what he says in the beginning, and it would have made sense for why he changes. Not just, they all cried him back to life. Guess I should be good now. See, I really hope the next 2 movies actually try and have more of a movie-style plot, because this one was just, it really felt like 3 episodes of the TV show strung together with a bit more of plot, but nothing really to it. As for everything else, the acting, it's the same actors and actresses who have been doing this for years, and they sound fine. Really, the acting is fine, and the same can be said about just about everything in this. The animation doesn't look like it's movie animation. Again, it really does look like it's just the TV show put on the big screen. Maybe that's because I'm watching a VHS, but at the same time, critics got a critic. It doesn't feel like this is updated animation, it just feels like it's kind of going, okay, so we can make longer animation, not better looking animation. So, yeah, the music, I remember nothing about it aside from the Pokemon theme remix they did near the very beginning, which was okay. You know, it was catchy enough, but I'm not going to remember it. Overall, when the question is asked, can I recommend Pokemon the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back? The answer is yes, but you also need to know this. I'm only giving Pokemon the first movie 2 Raptor Claws out of 4. Time went by pretty fast. I wasn't bored. I didn't feel like the movie was dragging on. But I did kind of be constantly going, wait, why is this happening? I wasn't, wait, when is something going to happen? It was more, why is this happening? If you're going to watch it with kids, then it's fine. It's a great kids movie. Little kids will love it. If you're a fan of Pokemon, you've probably seen it as a child and you will still love it. But if you have never really seen Pokemon before, or you haven't seen this as a kid, and you aren't into Pokemon, just skip it. I wasn't gonna watch this. I really, at this point, kind of figured, yeah, I missed the boat to watch the Pokemon films. I'm doing this mainly because Detective Pikachu is happening, and I figured, you know what? Let's give him a shot. Am I disappointed in this movie? Kinda, because I know Pokemon can be good. It can be entertaining, and it can have pretty decent plots. So hopefully Pokemon the movie 2000 and Pokemon the movie 3, or is it Pokemon 3 the movie? I don't know. Are better, especially Pokemon 3, because this is the one I'm the most excited for. And I just got to get through Pokemon the movie 2000, which I don't remember anything from, but at least just from the cover looks a lot more interesting. So, yeah. I really hate to rain on people's parades, and let me put it this way. If you liked it as a kid and you still like it now, more power to you. Go watch it, have fun. It's not for me. The best thing about this movie is Mew. Everything because I can't tell if it's a guy or a girl, everything Mew does is adorable and I love it. Although I am a little confused if the Mew that shows up in this movie is the original Mew or a clone, because they do say they found a Mew fossil. So does that mean the Mew in this is a clone, or is it one that was alive beforehand? Furthermore, what was it doing the whole time while this was happening until it showed up, and why did it decide to fight Mewtwo? Bunch of questions that never get answered, but I wasn't really expecting much. Anyhow, Dino Dudes, I got 2 more movies to get through, so until next time, this has been the Media Raptor saying keep cool, and I will see all you Dino Dudes around. Later. Also, like, comment, and subscribe.